Welcome to Fireball Legion, a podcast about the competitive side of Star Wars Legion, with hot takes, fresh perspectives, and a focus on the best hemisphere, the Southern Hemisphere. Open bracket, insert some quip about Mitch making circles, close bracket. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a mega episode where we recount our journey down south to the Battle of Hoth, Australia's very first GT, in Melbourne, Australia. We look forward to Rise from the Ashes, Australia's second GT, in Queensland, being run this August. We discuss our upcoming painting competition, an exciting way for you to win limited edition, out-of-print Adepticon exclusives. We discuss local events and the best plan of attack for local events, and Mitch's flavour of the week topic. Mitch, what have you got to say?
Well, much like you, listener, I've just learned about all those things as well. So let's see what Pete's going to tell us about. On the news front, nothing's really happening. Some pre-orders went up for Jedi High Council, but no one gives a shit about that. And if you do, then you play clones, and I still don't care. There was some AMG AI written articles, but no, that content is far inferior to whatever we call this podcast. Speaking of content, we were meant to have a short section for an interview here from the life of the community here in Australia, Mr. Matt Ollett. But he did go 1-4 at the Melbourne GT the other weekend, and that was only with an extremely narrow win against the bye. So he left the venue early just to drink his sorrows away at the airport lounge. So we didn't catch him while he was trying to just have a few before the plane trip home and still convince everyone that that only happened because he wasn't trying at the event. Pete, what is this glamorous image that you've put in our thing that I'm sure you'll share later on?
All right. The Mandalorians have dropped, and everybody is very, very excited. It's all anyone's talking about. It's all anyone's posting about. And we're all about building a community here. So we, and by we I mean I, have decided that we are going to have a Fireball Legion painting competition. Now, catch here is that it needs to be a Mandalorian. And there is going to be 2 categories in which you can paint your Mandalorian. And it could be a single model. If you do a whole squad in any of these themes, then well done to you. It can count as multiple entries. We are going to ask people to paint Mandalorians in either the most Aussiest theme. So we're thinking boomerangs, meat pies, VB, baggy green hats, anything Australian, or the most Fireball Mandalorian. And I'm thinking those cool 90s polo shirts with the fireballs coming up from the, or the flames coming up from the bottom.
Can we get a photo of you in yours?
I haven't got one yet, but it's definitely something I've been looking for. So those are the 2 categories. We're going to create a Discord. People can come in, and for everyone or every Mando you paint up in one of those themes and post, then you get an entry. And I have all of those Adepticon plastic special cards, and I'm going to put those up as prizes. So every entry goes into a random draw, and then we'll have a best for the most Aussiest category and a best for the most Fireball category to have a go at winning some cool promos, and also hopefully get a Discord community up and running.
Those plastic cards are super cool. If I didn't hate painting as much as I do, maybe I'd enter. Maybe I would.
Mitch, you were desperate for the card, and so was Matt. And I said, how can I make them try and do something they don't like to win them? And this is what I could come up with. So
you've done a hell of a job.
Follow along with, I was going to say our socials. We don't have any. I'm sure we'll spam it in various Discords, and you'll see it somewhere once it goes live. Just got to make sure we're not breaching any copyright with the images going up.
Maybe we'll have some socials by the time this episode goes live.
Yes. Well,
you know that I won't be running it.
Carlos did message me. We are Australia's 43rd ranked podcast in the subcategory of hobbies and miniatures. So definitely on the up and come.
Is there only 43 podcasts though?
I haven't searched them all yet, but there's less than 50.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Steering the ship.
No steering.
No
How are we going to vote on these things? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be me? Is there going to be drinking when we vote? Are we doing it live?
I just think the most likes on the photos as they go up on the Discord. I think let the people choose.
People.
Yep. And then I'm sure we have some independent judges. We have Zane from Queensland, who's a commission painter and an avid listener of the show. I'm sure I could ask him. Or we could even get Jeff Vader, who's a very good painter. See if he's keen to do some judging.
All right. Sounds like a plan then.
All right.
So what are we talking about, Pete?
All right. We're jumping into Melbourne and we're doing old school battle reports today. We are going to talk about our games. Let's see how we do.
Like that,
we don't know how we went just yet. Yes, there is going to be a lot of talking. We'll try and pick apart each other's strategies. And at the end, I guess
we have strategies now.
You can find out how we did. All right. Round number 1 in Melbourne. Coolest thing ever. They allowed you to grudge. So you could just call someone out and say, I hate you. Let's get this out of the way now. Let's battle.
You don't even need to bribe them. You just say, oi, we're playing.
We're playing. Yeah, it's a brilliant concept. I don't know where it started in miniature wargaming, but like I remember when I used to play lots of 8-edit fantasy, it was a really big thing where you just call out someone who'd said your faction was crap over a Discord, or it was Warseer forums back then, and you just take them down and see who won. So last year I grudged James Brett, and I said let's rerun it. Let's go for James again. He's a really good player. I knew he was going to bring clones, and normally you only ever want to see one clone at an event, and I sort of thought get it out of the way early. So we walked up to our very first game, and we flipped out, and we ended up with Cauldron and Align the Relay. So Cauldron is one of the new ones. It's got a little caveat where if you're on a POI, you're not losing suppression. It also has it's a weird one where you just don't care about your opponent's deployment zone because you only score for holding your objectives, and then you can score the middle objectives, but you can only score them if you're holding yours. So rolled up, and he was playing filthy clones. He was
dirty clones.
He was 13 activations. He was the 501st, where he can just spam all the ARC troopers. So I think it was Captain Rex. I think he had 1 marksman with a mortar, triple clone infantry, just naked, because, I mean, you've got Kalani as a great token battery, but what's better than Kalani is just a naked clone infantry, because it just gets its surges at the start for doing nothing. And it can cohere like crazy and just share its surge tokens to everything. He then went triple arcs, and he did the 6-man arcs. So he had a variation of medics and clone commanders on them. And then he took which I've found out, I played it a lot this weekend, but it was, I don't like it at all. It's crap. The DC 15X Arc Trooper Gunner. So it's 3 black, 1 white at range 3. And then he had triple strikes and ATRT, and he randomly dropped in a clone commando into the list. Just recapping what I took to the event, I had General Grievous, and then I had triple super tax with a combination of all the different techno powers. I had 3 naked B1s, 3 ion spider droids, 2 sword BXs, and 2 sniper BXs. So I got the activation pip on him. My list in every game in this tournament, I started with the 2 pip of orbital bombardment, and I'd stack all the aims up onto the commander super tac and hit something, hopefully with 4 crits, Pierce 1, every turn 1. So my cheap Timu Bosk. I don't think I ever got more than 2 crits with that attack the whole tournament. This game, James James split his force, and I just stuck everything in the middle. And Greg was really good at just coming on a flank. So I think Greg came on a flank, went straight into an ARC Trooper unit. I think they did 4 wounds over 2 attacks to him. But Greg ate that ARC Trooper unit and just took it out of the game. And then another ARC Trooper unit conservatively went down the other flank and was taking range 3 shots. I think that gun, the heavy weapon, was a huge trap. And because his 2 of his 3 really big damaging threats got neutered in deployment, I was just able to slowly steamroll up the middle, and I just had more and more activations than him and was able to pick off all of his little 4-man units. I wasn't really focusing on the other things. I was just picking off his 4-man units, and he didn't really have any disengage or any tech, so there was like a point where I had a single B1 and he had his 1 unmolested 6-man arc squad, and it was just like, I'll run the 1 B1 into them and just neutered them for a turn and got rid of another one of his big shots, and then he just didn't have the firepower to punch through my spiders or my super attacks, which got in, ran amok, and I think that game ended up being a bit of a runaway win. And put James Brett in his place for another year, and I'm sure I will call him out in 2027 for the return. Mitch, how did your game 1 go?
Name a more iconic duo. You and calling out Melbourne players and trying to make them sad. How'd you find that 6 copies of Overwhelm against Grievous with his notorious 2 courage?
Grievous went on a flank, and Grievous was in melee the first activation of turn 2. So I think we both 1-pipped and he won it. And he threw his arc straight into Grievous. Like, it was either he throws his arcs into Grievous or Grievous throws himself into the arcs. And because I had the activation over him, I could get Grievous to come on last. So that just never came into play. I was able to take that off the board.
Yeah. What about Rex? Did you find that he's as annoying as he ever has been?
Yeah, I think he got lots of extra 3 dice, but it was like my 6-man ARC Trooper unit gets to roll an extra 3 red dice into your single B1. And then it was like my naked 4-man clone squad gets to roll an extra 3 white dice into your unwounded spider droid. So I think he did get quite
super meaningful.
Yeah, he got it off about 4 or 5 times, but it wasn't meaningful shots.
Okay.
So it is nice. I don't think I did a single wound to Rex. Like, he played his Rex, hung him back a bit. But
yeah, because Rex is 5 health, right? It's not really worth shooting him, apart from that 1 pip where he just generates a lot of dice, which can be super meaningful, but it seems that you got away with it with sort of the targets that you had available to him on that turn.
Yeah, I'd not given him good options with this Rex.
And because I'm talking, I got a grief as well. Yep. That bloody mortar upgrade for the clones, 20 points. How come my Imperial Shore Trooper mortar thing is twice the cost, and it's got the same bloody gun? It throws 2 dice. Why is that thing 40 points?
Yeah, but you've got a much bigger base.
Oh, that's important, is it? Yeah, I got to pay twice as much for the same offense to have it locked behind another unit, and I'm only 3 wounds. I just die.
Just clones. That is definitely the correct upgrade for marksman. That mortar. It's just so nice at split firing, and it's just a nice 2 suppression. And Cumbersome's really unlocked a lot of those units.
You don't think there's a world where you can like RPS and Cody like leader upgrade to have like a cheeky impact unit?
There is that one-off of that Cody one, which I did encounter later in the tournament.
Oh, well, Cody. I'll save that for later. See if it actually tickled your spiders.
Yes.
So my round 1, I played against the wonderful Curtis, Melbourne Curtis, not Sydney Curtis, who's since left the game, and he was playing Mandos, despite the Mando box not being out and legal for this event. So that's right, it's not the Mandos you still think I'm talking about, it's Rebel Mandos and all the Mandos. So coming in at 10 acts, he's got double generic rebel officer with a splash of upgrades. One of them's got the minigun, which first time I've seen it, it's not bad. And then he's got Chewbacca standalone, Sabine with stims and Darksaber, and three Rebel Trooper squads, and two of them have ions. One of them has the neck guy with the shotgun. What do you call it? The SX something?
Yes. Slughead.
Yeah, the neck dude. They each have a medic. One of them has Cassian, but without a super squad because it has a medic. Another one's got Jen. And all three of them also have E-stims. And then there's also some frag grenades in there. So these are range 1, surge, crit, character-imbued squads that have stims and medics. Cool. We got that.
Yep.
Then the special forces, we've got the Mando Clan Ren, while they're still a legal unit, with, you guessed it, E-stims. And then there's 2 units of generic Mando resistance with Beskar duelists, rockets, and one more time, it's E-stims. So there is 7 copies of E-stims in this list. There are 4 Mandalorian units before the Mandalorian units were legal at this event, and 3 medics with just other stuff in there. Now, I didn't realize this in my turn 0, but I accidentally walked into exactly the combo that he was after, which made for a hell of a time. And Rebel players might know this. I certainly learnt this the hard way. The advantage card, No Time to Lose. That card, if I just pull it up here,
That's
definitely
the
well
free
prepared.
aim and dodge.
Oh, but it's not just that. See, that's what you think they should pick, but it's not what they actually pick.
It's a free
simply
recover
says,
action. Yes,
that's right,
yes.
a free recover action.
Oh, God.
And there's no limit to the amount of times that you can do it, like all the other advantage cards. There's no put 2 tokens on this, have 2 uses. You have as many uses as you have pass tokens. So how did that match up against my 13-act droid list that was trying to pick off units? Rather well. A reminder for my list very quickly. It was 2 Aquas with heavies, 3 Spiders with ions, 5 B1s with snipers, Bosk with hunter and recon, random Sunfac because I can, and Kalani naked. So generic droid gunline with Bosk. So the way this game went is discussed his advantage, and then we were playing on intercept and mark targets. I did between Bosk shots, range 4 ion spiders, and such, 0 effective damage. There was plenty of wound tokens on the table because of the like E-stims, but every time I would damage a unit, it would maybe take 1 or 2 models from the Mandos. They would get medic back, or I would do the damage, they would get E-stimmed, then when they go, they would free recover. At the end of the turn, lose their 1 to 2 models from their E-stims, medic those back, and then the next time you shoot them, they E-stims anyway. So nothing really died on his side for 3 turns, but the problem was the list, because it has so much stuff, so much points committed to keeping everything alive, it doesn't actually shoot back. So sort of at the end of round 3, start of round 4, just ran out of ways of bringing models back. It went from 10 acts to about 3 acts in 1 turn. But it was a hell of a game. It was a lot of fun. Just the sort of the zombie nature of the list. But if there was actually some teeth on that list, it probably would do all right. But with intercept signals having to split up sort of his Mando package a little bit and trying to chew through Aquas, which at 12 health armor 2 is still an extremely silly unit. Just didn't have the firepower to get through my activations, and so struggled to score points on the middle intercepts. So that one, score-wise, was a bit of a landslide in a 12-3.
Is this list going to, or is this concept going to have legs now with the new Mandos? Like, because he's still running 4-man units, isn't he? Whereas now the Mando units probably still cost the same, but they're now 6-man.
The problem would be that it doesn't have access to the medics, albeit the medics are very expensive. So maybe that's a net good thing. I still don't know about Stims at its current points value, though.
Because is it 8 at the moment or 12? It was 12, it went to 8.
Yeah, it's moved around a whole bunch. It's been a good minute since I've used it. It's now 8.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You can't bring it down too much more. Otherwise, you just slap it on every commander that has a gear slot, because then you maybe get one more activation out of like random things.
Yeah, it's 6 points. It's looking pretty tasty on Grievous or something.
Yeah. Even
that gear slot is pretty high.
Don't like wheel bikes and wheel bike Grievous have gear slots as well? You could probably sneak it in there.
Yeah.
That could be all right. That's a lot of value for 6 points if it was there.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Interesting game. The list is a very interesting concept. There'd be a lot to track, a lot of moving parts. I just feel it's missing a few just chill activations of naked rebel troopers or something. There's too much of things that all want to be doing things all the time. Not enough idle hands, I guess you could say.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we're both 1-0. We go into game number 2, and I get drawn against like the current terror of the meta, or at least overseas. It's being talked about. I think there was a big German event where 1 and 2 both played this. So I played Zane Rothney from Queensland, and he was running the Hondo Onaka Hondo's gang, where he rocks around with Hondo, and Hondo's got 2 sets of grenades. He's got frag grenades and impact grenades. He's got prepared supplies, a jammer, and lead by example. So Hondo's got all these little tricks because he has Arsenal X, where X is equal to the pip value you play. He had 2 mini pirate squads with electro staffs. And then he had 2 mega pirate squads with electro staffs. 2 swoop bikes with jammers. And then he had triple Wooloo tanks. So what he does with his Wooloo tanks is...
Didn't have triple, mate. Come on. You're selling the guy short.
He had quad. He had 4 of the things. The man, I think he said he was painting them like the night before until 1 or 2 a.m. So commendable that he actually had paint on them all. They'd all been airbrushed. They had little patterns on them.
And commendable that he flew from
from
Brisbane down to Melbourne with 4 Wallaloo tanks.
Yes.
Like, credit to you. Like, it's an ugly list, but if you're going to travel with it, I'll respect that.
Yeah. No, and they all made it in one piece. Now, what he does with his Wallaloos is they have Frenzied Gunner and Door Gunners, and on their profile they have 2 guns, an Arsenal 2. So he split fires them. Frenzied Gunner procs on both split fired attacks, and then he Door Gunners, and it procs again off the Door Gunner attack. So I think it was something like each one throws 3 attacks and 17 dice. They don't surge, but
just a fair balanced amount of dice.
Yeah, it's just lots of little dice constantly coming out.
17 dice. There we go. I just quickly looked it up.
Yeah, and he had a 4th Wallaloo, and this one had the raiding party leader, giving all of his tanks and also his swoop bikes demoralize. Now, this game was pretty scary. I was pretty worried. I sort of looked at it and said, I have to kill a Wallaloo in turn 1 because we rolled out with Cauldron and Surface Scan. Now, Hondo's courage value is X, so it's equal to the pit value he plays. And for 5 turns straight, he played Standing Orders. So his entire courage bubble was 8, effectively. So panicking the surface scanners was not really an option. Now, what happened is he just has... When you play Standing Orders, you don't really get to issue any orders. So that's really was his downfall, because his first pull from the stack, I think turn 1, he gave his face up to one of the Wallalos, and his first pull was Hondo. So I got to see where Hondo came on the board, and Hondo came on quite close to one of the flanks. So I sort of got an idea of where his courage bubble was going to be. He did have another courage coming from one of the Wallalos. And his second, and he put Hondo on the table, and Hondo didn't really have a super safe spot to go. He was probably in a spot where if I really wanted to push it, 3 spiders could shoot at him. 2 sets of scouting BXs could shoot at him. Greg could probably get a shot off on him. Like, everything could have got shots, but it would have left me in a really terrible spot. So he really, really wanted to get a tank on to protect him. So his second activation was to bring on his raiding party, so his second command bubble. That tank came on and moved up and body blocked basically Hondo, so Hondo couldn't take any shots. But he'd put both of his leadership bubbles on the left-hand flank, which meant his right-hand flank in Cauldron, where he needs stuff, was going to have no leadership bubble, which meant it was either going to have to be babysat by a Wallalo or swoop bikes, which he really probably doesn't want to do, or he was going to have to throw a pirate squad out there. So because on his second activation a tank came out, I was able to say, well, that's the tank that's dying, and I think it got 3 spider shots, 2 sniper shots, and also my orbital bombardment trick. So turn 1 I was able to achieve the remove a Wallalo. And that was huge. Greg came on that flank where Hondo was, and Greg's whole mission, because everything was immune to pierce in his list, or was a vehicle, was basically just go and tie some stuff up and be annoying. I couldn't bait Hondo to him. Hondo ran off and did his little tricks elsewhere, but he did pull in a Weequay pirate unit, and then he was able to go and tie up another Weequay pirate unit after eating one, which was quite good.
You know, Pete, I just realized that I sat and watched the second half of this game. I've only just remembered it because I had quite a few by this point. And yes, this was only game 2. I was there for a good time, maybe a long time. I think the thing I found funniest was midway through your game, which you just explained, you both had capped each other's back points, but they don't actually give you any victory points.
Yes.
So it took me a while to work out which way the game was being played, which didn't help with my current level of beer intake.
Well, the capping of the back points achieves you no victory points, but it stops your opponent from being able to score the middle. But when we read the actual card, there is a weird caveat on Cauldron that if you secure both the middle 2 points, you get a victory point. And that's where I was basically able to get my victory points. I think we both had a flank where we both scored our home objective every turn. So that gave us 5 each. And then it just came down to who was able to cap the middle. Zane did get up. I think he got 4 VPs in turn 2. And I was happy to let that happen because he was just able to put huge tank bases down and preventing me to have space to come in and cap. But I knew we were on clock, so I knew we were going to get to 5 turns. So I was happy to go down in turn 1. And then I think from that point on, I outscored him by 1 every turn of the game. So 3, 4, and 5. And that got me up on victory points. That
must be nice playing a 5-turn games over 5 turns, you know?
It is lovely. It is lovely. That list and Zane are going to become very, very scary. I think like this list was so new, like he hadn't actually he'd put it on the table once. He's been messaging me a few times. There's definitely some refinement.
With feedback for the podcast, right?
All sorts of things. I've got to give a shout out to his kids if they're listening in the car. Daddy did try very hard. Please do still love him. He really did put in a lot of effort. Daddy is going to get better, kids. Okay.
Wait, does that mean I have to stop swearing if kids are in the car?
They're from Queensland.
Right. So it'd be weird not to. I got it. I think at 11 activations, the list isn't as good. I think the pirate mega squads can maybe drop and you can get a couple more little squads like we spoke about before. Hands. The list you played was lacking idle hands.
I think Zane's list has a lot of really, really good things, but, supply run is in the game now. There's align the relay. There's retrieve the data. There's things where you want to have idle hands, and I think Zane's just everything wants to be doing stuff. So I think once he refines the list a little bit, we might be seeing him on quite a few top tables with this list appearing. But this pirates are very, very scary, particularly with those 4 Wolos. So definitely watch out for that list.
It's just a lot of armor 5, isn't it?
It's 40 armor, 5 wounds. The swoop bikes are really, really good at just like taking out strike teams, which exist in abundance now. And then
in your mind, maybe.
And then all of his things are immune melee pierce, or Hondo isn't, but Hondo normally has 4 dodges on him. So even Dooku's lucky to get a wound through on him.
What a fun interactive keyword.
So yes, we'll definitely be seeing a lot of that list, and well played, Zane. I think I squeaked it out on turn 5. I think I might have blown out the victory points on the surface scan, but it was very, very tight. And he definitely regretted his command card choices of not playing any of his command cards other than standing orders. But I think we both knew that I was going to look to immediately suppression dump on Hondo and try and steal his surface scanner if at any point he wasn't playing 4 pips.
And speaking of Hondo, this episode is sponsored by the keyword "My mood is based on profit."
Absolutely, we forgot about that, didn't we?
Well. It was your intro. I didn't get.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, imagine if your whole army could have relentless, just by being near a POI, which the game is all about.
Yeah, that's a fun one. It's not even POIs. I think it's all like mission tokens, which includes other shit.
And, yeah. No, it's a fun keyword for someone.
Yeah, it's balanced as Aquadroids on arrival.
On release. All right. Round 2.
Yes. Round 2. So I played against one of Melbourne's 2 Tristans. This one is known on the digitals as Cilia Average 9. And Tristan was playing a 14-act droid list with Wheelie Grievous with Up Close and Personal, Kalani Completely Naked, a generic super attack operative with Seek, optimized task flow, overclock, and an Electro Star, 6 naked B1s, a Magna Guard with Whip into the Fray and Tenacity, 3 Staps with LTAs, and 1 section of Aquas with the Heavy. At the start of this game, Tristan reminded me that we had played, well, I'll say before, instead of once before, and he had the unfortunate statistic of playing me twice in one event and losing twice in one event. That was in New Zealand's one and only GT. That was a few years back, where I think Red Bulls were like $1 each. And I think Matt Ollett and myself both had heart palpitations by the end of it. So hopefully the Kiwis can sort some shit out and get another GT down there, because that was a good weekend. Anyway, back to Melbourne, Tristan. So we ended up flopping into Close the Pocket and Marked Targets. Now, I have no idea how I'm going to describe this to you, but I think it's necessary. So the table was full of these like vertical sheets of like what looked like Mandalorian glass planet type thing. And so it would be like a kitchen table, but instead of like using soup cans, you used bathroom tiles. So there was all these weird firing lanes and vehicles were terrible at moving around. It looks super cool, but it might be one of the least functional, cool looking tables that I've seen. So what did that mean? It meant that deployment got super weird, and sort of we started deploying some stuff, throwing down B1s, basically pseudo pass tokens. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to deploy here. And then I found this weird sightline where I could put some of these spiders at some funny angles and stuff. and managed to knock Kalani off the board with 2 spiders and and something else, a B1 shot, something irrelevant, and got some cheeky damage through on Kalani, who thought he was safe, so wasn't in backup range. So Kalani fell off.
That's what overclock is for, in my opinion, is correcting my mistakes.
We'll get to mistakes in gameplay later, I'm sure. But managed to knock Kalani off the board turn 1. Bosk hadn't even gone yet, and Bosk was eyeing off something else to come on the board. And Tristan decided that he didn't want to fuck with the vertical tiles on a tabletop, and didn't need to see what Bosk was going to remove from the table, if it was going to be another commander or not. Decided that he didn't want to play and wanted to go drink or do something else. And I was always more than happy to continue drinking, as I was watching Pete's game in the background. And so we sort of shook hands before Bosk activated on turn 1 off his lying in wait. And we just sort of clicked some buttons, and that was it.
Fair enough. You definitely have that effect on some people.
I don't know why. Pete loves a hard game. I love just throwing dice and laughing about dumb shit. But I think that's because I'm washed up, and you still go to Worlds.
Fair enough. Yes, well, it sounds if it's one of those boards with lots of terrain, but also it's very open. Like, you definitely end up with those. I always like to. It all comes down to turn 0, and you sort of agree with your opponent. Do we want to play this as, like, when you've got those tables and you have to bend right over, and you're like, oh, there's actually a window here and a window there, and I can actually see, like, you can really clear up some of those really annoying table things that can occur. Just by saying this is line of sight blocking.
I mean, these things were fully opaque up to like height 1.5, but the actual spires on them were like height 3. Like they were a bathroom tile, a big bathroom. There was no working out a way to make it more playable. It was just there.
Yeah, wow. I would have knocked that table open and over and broken it if there was things standing up that tall, but fair enough. Well, this is day 1, and there are 3 games in a Day of Legion, and this is starting to get into the cutting edge. And I pulled another bit of a grudge match. I played a man named Vivian, and I sort of spent the first hour and a half of the game staring at him, going, I swear I know this guy. And then I figured out who he was, and that he'd actually completely creamed me in a game of 8th Ed Warhammer Fantasy about 15 years ago.
Talking about board games or like your extracurriculars?
In Warhammer Fantasy Battle, so a different
right. So in your fantasies, he creamed. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. So Vivian has decided to play Legion. He's quite new to it, but he's obviously an absolute veteran of tabletop wargaming. And for some reason, he's decided to go with Dirty Clones.
Poor choice. Poor choice.
Now, see a lot of Surface Scan, played a lot of it. That was our secondary. I love Surface Scan as a secondary, because it really makes you think about what units get the tokens, and my list is very good at going and getting those tokens off things. And then we played Contact. And this table had 2 things that were probably 12 inches by 12 inch squares, and then they were 2 foot tall. So it had these 2 huge industrial buildings, and we sort of broke it up and it said, this is one part, this is another part. So there were functional bits of terrain, but both flanks had these huge line of sight blockers for trooper miniatures. So I was pretty happy when we flipped, because I was red. I got to flip my objective, and it was Contact.
Of course, you're red.
So the middle lane wasn't super open. There were various boxes and crates that you could hide behind, but it was a pretty nice looking sight lanes, and like my spiders could climb on top of things to really make sure they could see everything. So we rolled up with that turn 0, and Vivian had a Yoda list. So Yoda's got push, and a couple of other powers. He had Padme. He had Clone Marksman. I think he had 3 of them, so he just went the triple naked core. He took the new Chewie Wookiee unit. Really, really scared about that. So that's the one that rolls red save Wookiees for the first 4 wounds.
Yeah, you're going to have to tell us all about that. In fact, tell me. I have no idea what that thing is.
All right, so it's the Wookiees come in at about 62 points now, and then I think the Chewie upgrade is 40 points, but it's very much worth it. So you've just got your 3 standard Wookiees on their card. They have Duelist, so if you spend a dodge, you become immune to Pierce. If you spend an aim, and by spending an aim, I mean you re-roll 2 dice, you also get Pierce. And Chewie adds, he's a rainbow in attack. Now, while Chewie is alive, when you roll defensive dice, for each model in the unit, upgrade 1 defense dice. So while there's 4 Wookiees, if you get hit 4 times, you roll red defense dice for those 4 wounds.
Sounds reasonable.
Yep. Very, very tough, particularly when they're 3 wounds each. When a model dies, for every model that's dead in the unit, when you roll attack dice, upgrade an attack dice for each missing model. So
yeah, that's fine.
It's sort of like a seesaw unit, but it's absolutely terrifying at 4.
How many points is Kraken as a unit upgrade?
Oh, I think he's about 40 or 35, 40.
So he's the same price as this Chewbacca thing, but he only gets half the effect. And I'm going to guess that the Chewbacca thing's got like 3 wounds as well.
Correct.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Classic droids getting stitched up again.
Yeah, somebody's bloody gar. Now, that unit's really scary because it gets in and Yoda's got his silly 3-pip where he's just like, you want infinite dodges for the turn? Here you go. He didn't take prepared supplies on him, which I think is something that should be stapled on him. It's just such value. Like, Dooku runs into them, you spend a dodge, and it's like, cool, I'm rolling 3 red immune pierce dice. And it's just brutal. He then had...
hold on. Just pull me up here now. It upgrades for each miniature left. So as you remove miniatures, it loses both effects.
Oh, okay, yeah. So keep them healthy. And then you sometimes see those clone players have medics hanging around on ARC troopers. And you can do the trick where if you've got a Wookiee with 2 wounds on it and a dead Wookiee, you can just bring back a whole dead Wookiee with 1 wound left.
Delightful.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a unit that wants to be at full health. He then had 2 ARC troopers with the DC 15X, and then 2 snipers, and he brought 2 of the silly little circle flying UFOs with beam cannons. I forget what they're called. The mud
ISP.
That's the one. ISP. He had 2 ISPs with beams, and those things are 2 red, 2 white, beam 2, and they're just going to mow down all of my little small units if they can get shots off.
How are they with the new cover changes?
They're really, really good. They're just pretty glass cannon-y. Like, they just don't have any impact. So they're sort of a rock, paper, scissor unit where they're really good into infantry spam lists. But if they rock up against like a Tempest Force or something, they're pretty out of their depth. All right, what did he do? He put his surface scans on his 2 ISPs, and I think that was his first error because I have 3 spiders and I have my orbital bombardment trip. And he sort of realized that at the end of turn 2 and said, crap, I actually pretty much have to lose these units for the whole game. But at that point, one of his ISPs had 2 or 3 ion tokens on it and I think was damaged. So in turn 2, he sort of just had to move it up out of his deployment zone and hope something else was going to grab the token. His ARC troopers, quite a lot of ARC troopers did this to me on the weekend where they got to scout, move, shoot, but they're only shooting at range 3. And all the clone players seem to think 3 black, 1 white with 2 aims is a really good attack. I think
No. They don't seem to think it. It is great. Keep doing it, please. Good job, you clone players.
James did it, Vivian did it, and another clone player I played did it.
Clearly, just expert level strategy. Keep doing that.
No Pierce on it, overwhelm on it, but yes.
Don't need the keywords. It's so strong. It's 4 dice on turn 1. That's as good as your orbital bombard.
With 2 aims. So, turn 1, I just got up on the attrition. I was able to sniper shot into Wookiees. Like, I could just put a wound on him. I don't have to worry about his red dice. And then I was able to chip away with a few wounds here and there on them. So I got the Wookiees down a little bit.
Wait, sniping Wookiees.
Sniping, yeah. Well, look,
I've heard it all.
Shoot something. Turn 1 and 2 were just positioning, and I was just getting up and up on attrition. And then turn 3 was a 1-pip roll, and this basically ended the game. I won it with Greg. Greg went into the Wookiees. I think there was 6 wounds left. He killed them. Then he did his spin to win, and his spin to win was like 2 dead clones, 2 dead clones, 2 dead clones, 3 wounds on Yoda. And he'd also played the Yoda 1-pip. So Yoda just took 3 wounds off the bat. So he did have a face up on Yoda, but he was he wanted to hold off on Yoda because he could claim the middle point with Yoda doing all the Yoda trick things on his 1-pip where he pushes someone, he dives in and he kills something else, he recovers, he pushes someone else. Like, he can really dominate a middle point. He really wanted Yoda to go late, but I just had all these crappy little shots like naked B1 shooting into Yoda. Okay, we didn't kill him, but we put another suppression on. The next set of naked B1s comes up. Hey, we got a wound through. Awesome. Yoda's got 1 health left, and then there was like a spider droid was able to get a shot. So he did have the face up on Yoda, but he really wanted to hold him, and I was just able to keep plinking, and Yoda dropped dead. And I think at that point it was just an uphill battle for Vivian. And because Greg had mowed down his Wookiee unit. So I think one of the things he did is turn 1, he played the 3-pip from Yoda. I think with Yoda, that 3-pip is amazing, but it's got to be a turn 2 play with just how conservative turn 1s are becoming. Because that full order control on clones is just absolutely disgusting. And he's got a really good list, but there's so many, like, you want the ISPs to have face-ups. Yoda basically needs a face-up. The Wookiees kind of desperately want a face-up. So his order control hurt him, whereas while I didn't have perfect order control, I had a lot of support tokens. I had a much cleaner stack to manipulate than he did. And that was quite telling when he was pulling.
Of course, you liked manipulating your stack.
I love to manipulate the stack. So it was a really good game. He's definitely a player again who I think who is going to be very good at the game if he continues. Like, he had a very, very good tabletop knowledge. I think there were just a few Legion intricacies he didn't quite didn't have a full appreciation of, but definitely going to be a player to watch again from Melbourne. So that was my game with Vivian.
Nice.
You had a arch nemesis, didn't you? Round 3.
Yeah, I got to play someone not at all from Melbourne. Mr. Paul Ray, the Stinger. I've probably played more games against Paul, well, in any system, than anyone else I've played. So Paul and I know our ways of playing very, very well, and we cranked this game out in about an hour. Full 5 turns at 1 hour. So Paul brought the extremely easy to pack Separatist invasion force with General Grievous. So my second one in a row. This one was on foot. With
correct choice.
With nerfed improv and into the fray. Then only 6 B1s. Oh, coward. Each of them with E5S, and 2 of them being super squads, 2 droidicas, and 2 AATs. One of them naked, one of them with their coordinate dude and high energy. We ended up playing a bunker assault and retrieve the data. So Paul hadn't played retrieve the data before. So we learnt that one together because I think I played it maybe once before. And bunker assault we played with a rather large height 2 building sort of smack bang in the middle of the field. So it was very much sort of clean down 2 flanks, but there was sort of some height 1 buildings, walls, that kind of thing attached off the building. And Paul, having played against my boss many times, knew that I was going to make him pick up something turn 1. And so we didn't quite get there on turn 1, but after my first activation of turn 2 with lying in wait paired with...
Reptilian Rampage?
No, I didn't play Reptilian 2. I played something else. Something uninteresting. But I killed a tank on the first act of my turn 2. So he's already down 1 tank. He's starting to bleed B1s to spider shots and aqua shots and B1 stuff and whatnot, without getting too much damage in return yet. And then he reminded me that droidicas are now troopers, which means they can climb. So what I thought was some sort of defensively placed droidicas were actually there to last first me and climb over a wall and then throw 6 dice at point blank range and deny my B1's cover. So we started chunking my B1s super quickly. This was also paired with another droidica sort of natty rolling into 6 hits and 1 tapping Sunfac from full to dead behind heavy cover. And then on turn 3, Grievous won the 1 pip roll-off and ran into my lines and did about, 10, 12 wounds with his whirlybird attack. So what started really well with tank already dead, the second tank half dead, a bunch of his B1s gone, went really bad really fast when droidicas learned to climb, since AMG taught them to. And Grievous's whirlybird, even when he doesn't surge crit in the foot version, is still handy. However, Grievous's downfall, of course, is the shiny side of red defense dice. So when Bosk was able to Reptilian Rampage into Grievous, did 5 wounds off unaimed shots, and then a spider just threw 3 more wounds off the first spider to shoot. So Grievous, I think, failed 8 of 11 or 12 saves, and just went from full to dead and fell over.
Paul, you were so close.
And once, because sort of Sunfac had my other side where he got one shot by those droidicas, so we did this weird whirlpool thing. Sorry, I got the order wrong with the spider and Boss. Boss got the bounty, but we did this whirlpool thing where we kind of both destroyed each other's bases. So at the end of the game, at the end of turn 5, and after an hour of play with bugger all units left, was 17 to 16.
As you do.
What are you typing there, Pete?
Well, yes, Mr. Paul has played this list an awful lot. And yeah,
also,
the new
I forgot to say about AATs. I've never seen someone roll not 4 hits on an AAT shot so many times. I think you find those AATs with barrage, I don't know, maybe a dozen times, maybe more total. Not once of them did he roll all 4 hits, which is like a 60% chance.
Yeah, wow. I don't understand the improv, because the series is the My Tank Coordinates Troopers. The improv just seems wasted there. Paul, there's this really good upgrade for Grievous called Prepared Positions and or Prepared Supplies. You could have been surging on defense when you took all of those wounds.
That probably would have... I don't actually remember how many surges he rolled, but that certainly could have made a difference.
Absolutely. Well, we're both 3-0 at the end of day 1. I was having heart palpitations because right at the very end, I think I got in a shout with a few boys, and I said, "Oh yeah, just the energy beers." I thought they might have a little bit of caffeine, but I think after 5 energy beers in the space of an hour and a half, I went and spoke to the guy, and they definitely did have about a Red Bull's worth of caffeine in them, and I was like, "Whoo, all right, yeah."
So you had the New Zealand GT experience.
I did. It was very good. They're very good beers at that place, but didn't realize the caffeine content of my energy beers. And then
I had beers. Wow.
I had a pale ale. I was chunking down, so the burps were getting very, very fruity.
We were all acutely aware of your fruity burps.
Yes. Well, we all have our downfalls. All right. Quick intermission.
What are we?
Quick intermission.
Yeah. So it's 2-day event. So we'll I don't know what. We had some evening drinks. I think there was something going on with the event, but a lot of our group, even those traveling from Sydney, we're not really close to each other. Live close to each other. Maybe we're not close to each other either. Fuck those guys. And a few of the Brisbane boys as well. So we sort of just had pizza and bevies, and then I think Matt and I hit the town at some point after midnight, and have never seen so many people that were aged in the bracket of 18 to 19 drinking and at the casino. Oh, so it was a
playground.
Perfect playground to finish our night before we got back at something AM to crack on with the next day. Yes. But Pete, outside of our awesome hemisphere, what's happening else in the world?
All right, we like to just look at other countries and laugh. We had a look at a event over in America, and there's some lists, and I want you to give some honest feedback on them. So, in America, there is a state called Indiana. It's the alleged breeding ground of the best and brightest Legion players. And they had a.
Were you born in Indiana?
Absolutely not. I think when I was in America, I asked a bunch of them. I was like, "Oh, I've got a week. Is there anything to visit in Indiana?" And they were just like, "No, don't come here. It's terrible. It's the worst place ever." I think it's literally. I think it's their Maury. It's just like a giant flat wheat belt. Like it's nothing but agricultural land everywhere you see. So they did have a huge GT though. They had 65 players, and we're just gonna snapshot the top 2 lists. So, Mitch, I'd like you to go in blind to this. Trent Hale, he was the winner.
Right.
He went 6-0. I posted his list to you. Could you please tell me what his list is and what the hell it's trying to do?
Let's have a look. All right. So it's droids. Good start. Not clones. Respect the hustle. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 acts. Okay.
Yep.
Pretty normal so far. We got Poggle with improv. Interesting. We've got Kraken. Respect with Into the Fray and emergency transponder. Just why not? 4-point aim. That's the right value for an aim token. Then there's Sunfac. So now we've got 3 corner units and a Build-A-Bear super tac operative with seek and destroy, overclock, slice comms, staff, and strike team leader. Okay, that's an upgrade that you're allowed to have. Only 3 core for a droid list, which includes naked geos, which I guess gets is it direct or is it retinue? It's retinue, isn't it?
Direct Sunfac, yeah. Sunfac gives them a free order. They make
because Poggle's got retinue B2s, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then 2 B1s, naked, and that's the end of the core. Super weird for a droid list. And then there's Magna Guard with Into the Fray, Impact Grenades, Whip, and General Grievous. I quite like this unit. I like the Grievous Magna Guards. I haven't tried them myself, but 10 wound, red save, free tokens, Into the Fray.
And he's got a strike team leader, so if he's throwing him in, they're probably going in with 2 aims.
Oh, yeah, that's who you strike teaming, because it won't be any of the other core, and there's no other special forces. Yeah. So or they're double token Magna Guard. Yeah, so they're basically droids trying to mimic what the 6-man ARC troopers are doing. Then we've got 2...
And be honest about your thoughts here. Be honest about your thoughts here.
Hold on. We've got a hold on. We have a Flame Spider with defense protocols, which might be fine in its own right, but we have no order control here. So it's going to be subject to the AI keyword. So it's going to be forced to take dodge actions.
He's got heaps of override because he's got Poggle overriding.
Yeah, Poggle does override
and
as well.
the operative. Okay. So I don't think it's the protocols that stand out to me here. There's something else.
Okay.
Can you tell me
Is it
what
these other two spider droids that have the wonderfully unseen laser cannon?
Yes.
Which I'm also going to have to look this up. Don't you worry, dear listener. I'm going to attempt to read out what that is to you.
I believe it's crit 1, red, black, white, and I think it might be impact 1 if we're lucky.
So it is, one red, 3 black, 1 white, range 3, critical 1.
Oh, no,
so it's
no
a
impact.
5 dice attack. No impact. So it's a 5 dice attack instead of 6 with the ion. It doesn't have ion. It's got the same level of critical, and it throws, less dice at less range. It is 15 points cheaper. But isn't this just a bad droidica? Oh, it's cheap. Maybe that's why it's 68 points. Maybe because it's cheap.
And maybe
surely there's better things to do. Like,
it's like a Povo tank unit. Like you can put it on a point, defend, maybe overclock it on a point, and it's annoying. It's annoying to kill.
I just wonder if you get more value. Okay, all right. We're not even at the end. We got one Aqua Droid with the heavy. Okay, and then the other one is the Wallow with Frenzy, Uplink, and Door Gunners. So that thing is designed to probably double move onto the board turn 1 and then just recover triple shoot. That surely that's what that does.
Yes,
okay.
For the sake of order, can he transport anything in that? Can he put Greg in that?
No, because transport has to be core or special forces always.
But Greg's special forces, does affiliation with it? It doesn't.
No, I don't think transport does.
He could be throwing Greg on.
Yes. Which how long is a Wallow base? I think it's about 9 inches plus 3 inches for the speed one, plus the deployment thing, which is another 3 inches because you lose a base. Yeah. So it's call it range 2 and a quarter, range 2 and probably 2.5 actually before they activate.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. The only problem is it's 13 acts, so you're not guaranteed last. But that's a charge range of, there's no ruthless access. So, charge range of 4.5, which is pretty good, given that you can probably deploy from the side. I imagine that would be really neat on things like the new outflank, which I think most lists are terrible at.
Yes.
So, that's a curious one.
Yeah, 6-0. He's a very, very good player, Trent. Definitely knows what he's doing, but it's...
it's very strong objective play, but there is no damage in the list. None of those characters do meaningful damage. Like Kraken 4 Red is nice. The Electrostar Operative is nice. Then there's the Grievous unit. So sort of let's count the 2 commanders as damage units. You've got Grievous for 3, maybe the Flame Spider for 4, and the Wallow for 5. Like, it doesn't actually throw a lot of dice at you, so it just runs and does objectives, which apparently is good enough for the American meta. So, if you're only how many rounds did his games go to?
I don't think we get to see that at Longshanks, but
oh really?
I don't know.
I thought you did.
Well,
maybe you do because you're a paid subscriber or something, but I'm pretty sure that's captured, whether people put it incorrectly or not. But I can't imagine that this would play well 5 rounds deep into sort of the list that you or I brought, because it can't kill us and it would lose its activation advantage eventually.
Yeah.
But if you're playing 3 rounds, who gives a shit?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, what?
Any other lists that stood out for you from the event? If you had to pick one?
Well, I've scrolled down and you've picked one for. What is this? This is just a bad.
This is a list from.
You read it and I'll tell you what I think of it.
This is a list from Brian Bayer. It went 5-1, so this was the top cut game. So he has rocked. I've got to do the counting. It is 12, +1, +1, +1. 15 acts with the Han Ton, so 16 activations. And he is rocking Rebel Officer, Proven Tactician, Improv. He's the guy who comes on, he recovers, and he's your improv. Luke Skywalker, Operative, Burst of Speed, Mind Tricks, Push, Into the Fray. He's got all the tricks. He's got Mega Luke. Then he's got Honton with Trusted Agent for his sneaky little face up when Luke is doing his thing, and Seize the Initiative. So he can...
he has double C's.
Yeah, basically. He can still only give himself one order. 3 naked Rebel Troopers, so he's met his core requirements. He then goes like into very specific units. So 3 Rebel Commandos. Proton Charge Saboteur, so I believe that is a red, black, white, range 1, and it gives impact 6, so very good at range 1. He's also given them droid poppers. 3 ATRTs with flamethrowers. And then the most curious choice of them all, Rebel Commando Strike Team. So that's the 2-man unit with the Proton Saboteur. So this is a 37-point unit, which has Incognito, but hits 2 white saves. And he's also given them droid poppers as well. So just tiny little meme Incognito units. What do you think of this, Mitch?
Well, this looks like a classic 3-round American list if I've ever seen one. It's 15 acts, so it dominates most activation things.
16 acts because it gets the sneaky Han token.
Yeah, of course. And then Han can generally pick up a unit on turn 1, maybe another one on turn 2, so it's removing your efficient units back, and it would have the you can't attack Luke command card, the 3-pip.
Oh, of course. Yep. Just to be even more frustrating.
Yep. And then probably what else? Change your plans. So in the classic 3-round American meta, you don't get to play the command card you want. Han's going to be in.
This is a round 5 every game list. He's gotten there. At least
I can also write 5 in my game report.
Oh.
But this list probably, like, if you're telling me the other list went 6-0, that makes sense because it's a similar amount of activations. That list actually has some damage enough to clip these small units. So if this is indicative of the American meta, which I don't look at because I don't care, if no one's bringing things that actually do damage because everyone just wants to mob activations, then I'm not shocked at all that this is a 5-1 15/16 act list. If we start getting some like meaningful players playing correct gun lines, because there's plenty of shit gun lines, don't get me wrong, this list just is crap. I think this is the classic Legion problem where you can have a shit list with a quality player and they'll still do just fine. I mean, look at your list. You're 3-0 so far.
All right. I think this is a segue we're hinting towards. So that was our snapshot. I'm sure we'll do an open invite to these two if they want to come on and defend their lists and the American meta, because we did have 3 people from America download the podcast last episode. So there's definitely someone listening. Before we do actually jump back in, let's quickly talk about what is coming up in terms of Australian events. There is a little event in the Combat Company. So this is Matt James's baby. He's really pushing the Sydney scene. Sunday the 5th, it's a little 3-dayer. This is the way, 2%. Not sure what that means, but I'm sure it is something very witty from Matt. And these are just fun little casual 3-game events where you can go and try really weird lists. I know I've managed to wrangle a holiday in Sydney where I'm out Sunday, so I'll be able to sneak off and play this and try.
Oh, you coming?
Yeah, I'm coming to bring some weird, janky OP Luke, actually. A bit of OP Luke.
Oh,
and
we can talk about our lists then.
I was about to say, Honton.
In the intermission.
Oh, wow. Hold on. No, I've just seen Honton can take 2 into the CZ initiative, so I've got to rebuild my list now. I think my list involves 2 buses with sleeper cells in them with HQ uplinks. The Mandalorian girl who has direct to the Mandalorian Ren clan. So I've got a big squad of them and that girl, and then I've got, I think it might be 4 naked core, and then OP Luke with everything and Honton with everything. So
nice.
Turn 1, I do get to have all my special forces with face up, and it's just going to be absolutely throw the buses forward, throw the sleeper cells out, and just start shooting everything. I'm excited about getting this Clan Ren 6-man unit into something.
Yeah, that seems pretty spicy.
Yes, yes. And what are you bringing?
Well, I'm bringing what I'm still tossing up my list name, but it's going to be something like generic baddies for Matt's 2% to kill. So it's Empire at 15 acts, because there's nothing meaningful in here, don't worry. It's Krennic and Veers, so classic middle management, and then it's got a couple shore troopers with the heavies, a couple stormtroopers with HH-12s, another stormtrooper naked, death troopers with their kit, 3 special forces because they're cheap, a couple probe droids because I haven't played them before, and a couple E-webs.
All the little things.
So I just looked at my shelf and I was like, I don't want to play vehicles again for a bit. What infantry can I just put in here that I haven't seen for a while? So
yes,
ISF, deaths, E-webs, shore troopers, Veers. I haven't played them in forever.
Fair enough. Yes, I thought I'd try something other than Sis, since I think my last about 50 games was Sis. I'll keep them going for the Brisbane GT, but it'd be nice to get some Rebels on the table. See what this Honton's all about. So that's a fun little event, but we also have another event which is coming up the weekend after, so Saturday the 11th, and this is going to be in Maitland, New South Wales. So Maitland, I think Joel's described it as the shitty version of Newcastle. It's about half an hour west of Newcastle, and it's really good to see events coming in these little areas. So this one is
Newcastle's about 2 hours north of Sydney. 2
hours north of Sydney, but then Maitland's 30 minutes west of Newcastle, probably.
That's something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are all made-up places to me.
We'll go with that. If you're someone on the Central Coast, it would be an easy day trip. So it's called the Clash of the Cantina. It's a 3-rounder. Joel's always been an active member of the community, so it'd be awesome to see people head up there. It's being hosted at a place called Tactica Games Maitland. So that's a 9 o'clock start, and again, another fun little local event where you can try out some weird janky units you never really play and see how it goes.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. Go support Joel's event if you can escape that day. He travels all the way from his shit part of Newcastle for a lot of our events, so if you can get up there, definitely go throw some dice, either with him or at him. I don't mind which one.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the very final event to talk about is the big one. So
yeah,
August
from Phoenix Games himself.
Phoenix Games, yes, proud Phoenix Game. I think travelled all the way up to Melbourne and then proceeded to lose his voice, so no one actually heard him. He did stand up and try and promote the event, but all anyone heard was.
Yeah, he should have just lent into the interpretive dance.
So what he was trying to say.
Yeah, there was actually less noise coming out of his voice than our listeners heard from Greg sucking on a paintbrush last episode.
Deception Bay, PCYC, August 22nd to 23rd, 2-day event, GT. It's in a PCYC. Don't worry, kids won't kick balls at your minis. They put a big net up in the middle of the day to stop that from happening. I was very worried last time. I saw a few basketballs going around next to the tables. But no, that'll be an awesome event, and I think there's definitely already a bit of a travelling crew going up. So it'll certainly be one to look forward to.
Yeah, no, it's a good venue up there. Plenty of space to escape from your beer burping. So the challenge will become how do we sneak liquor into a PCYC? I'll think about that one.
All right,
if you have any suggestions for us, or you want to talk to us about anything else, you can probably find Pete on Discord. You still called Zyconia on there?
I am. Someone has found me. I do have a very good friend. His name is, I can't say Prestigation, who's my, I'm going to say he's my number one fan. He's been following the podcast. I've been giving him list advice, and he started going 3-0. So he's
fantastic.
He's my project player.
If you want to contact me, too bad, but you can send us an email at fireballlegion@gmail.com where we'll receive it.
Yes, Carlos has emailed us. I think Carlos wanted us to buy some kind of product or service. So
I think that's a automated email from a podcast server.
Oh, we also have an email from True Fans, which
what if you signed up our email?
I don't know. I do not know.
And before Pete says anything that'll get us more cancelled than this already is, I'm going to start talking about day 2. Now, much to everyone's joy at the end of the first night while we're having more bevies and Matt and I were hitting the town and whatever, they released the draw in the evening. And Pete and I were set up to not play each other in round 4 because there was 4 3-0s left to go. So I think I was matched up against the Drink, and you were matched up against Maul de Sol, or I was against Maul de Sol and you were against... it didn't really matter. It was 2 people that I don't know immediately, and it wasn't Pete. So we're not playing each other. And then we get there in the morning, fortunately not hungover, but still very tired. And one of the 3-0s had to drop, the Maul de Sol guy. So they redrew it. And you know what? I had to play Droids and Grievous one more time. And
it was Pete a fireball off, the first of many to come. Peter versus Mitch, 2 titans of the community, face 1v1, the game of Fireball Legion. All right, Mitch.
That was very dramatic.
What were your thoughts going into that? I just went, oh, for fuck's sake, I've got Mitch.
I mean, I was ready to go get another beer because it was the round 1 of the day, and that means it's time to have beer. But looking at our matchup, so we've both got like commanders. You have a lot of suppression generation and have actual competent melee threats in your several electro staffs, Grievous, and the BX commando swords. But outside of your melee, your range is pretty inadequate in the matchup, given that I've got all the snipers, the B1 snipers, boss. We both have the ion spiders, so that was going to come down to who rolls more crits. But I've got the aquas, which are a handy health pool to tap into. So I thought, as long as it's an open map, which Melbourne, apart from the bathroom tiles map, all the maps were unbelievably open. So
this one had quite a lot of good line of sight blockers.
It had a few, but it didn't have anything to help it out. Like there was no light cover, there was no real area cover. I think there's these prohibitive moisture evaporator things that we sort of stuck in a pile, and we're like, that's now our area terrain.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we trashed this table a little bit, but those people can deal with it, build better tables.
There was an absolutely enormous spaceship.
Oh, yeah, that was on the side. Yeah, that was in such an irrelevant place. I've completely forgot about it.
Yeah, it was huge, that thing.
And like all of our good games start, Pete, I lost the roll-off. And again, I always lose the roll-off. So I was not thrilled about playing your battle deck because my list is shit into most objectives, and it very desperately needed my stuff, which I don't know. Did you get that premonition coming into our matchup?
Yes, I definitely like the first thing we did is we looked at each other's battle decks and said, "Oh, primaries are both completely opposite." So I think we had pretty similar secondaries.
Yes,
because you flipped out a primary, and I flipped out. I think it was surface scan. I think I got the pass token. You got some other advantage.
No, you got the bomb.
I got the bomb. What did you get?
I got the pass token.
The pass. That's right. That's right. And your first.
Oh wait, no, I got aims.
Yes. No, you got the pass token.
Okay.
Because I let you have it. Because I did a thing that I do a few times, and I regretted doing it, which was I think you flipped maybe your primary, and I sort of said, this is irrelevant. And then on my first veto, I said, I'm going to be blue, knowing full well I was just going to flip the primary last. And then you went back to you and you said, no, I'm blue again. And then I flipped out primary, and I really, really wanted I really wanted shifting priorities because you only had one leadership bubble, and I was probably going to be able to get to it and take it out. And I was just going to be able to spread you out and just use my suppression to panic everything. I didn't get that. The second thing I really wanted was Cauldron, where the suppression was going to stay on. I didn't get that. I got contact. So it was
the one objective that we shared.
Yeah, the one that we shared, and it was a really open center. So we had 3 objectives down a very, very open center. And then I sort of had a bit of a wall on my side, and you had a bit of a building on your side.
Yeah, the side objectives were pretty cut off.
They were pretty cut off, but both of them were right next to a line of sight blocker. And because you were blue, you got to pick sides, and you sort of got the flanking side pieces where you could be capping them behind line of sight. And my paths to both of them were pretty open. So that blue player was really, really big in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turn 1, basically nothing happened. Like, I think boss killed 5 B1s.
Oh, yeah. Because you played
I played the bomb and just completely stopped you from going. We had that weird one where you had reinforcements and I had a bomb, and because I'd won the roll off, it was the bomb went off, then your reinforcements came in.
Yeah, so I was able to get back a little bit of the positioning, but because the bomb was going to affect both my spiders and my aquas, I ran out of space because of where the buildings were that was sort of blocking my movement. So I was super cramped up. Boss was in a terrible spot, and I was only able to shoot B1s. If I don't even know how I would have been able to do it differently. Just the having access to ordnance on turn 1 with the way my terrain was set out really boxed me in. And I'm glad I played it cautiously, because I don't know if you remember, Pete, but crit hit surge. So I would have taken 3 wounds on each aqua and spider that would have been in range.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't pull the Courtney Long and run into the minefield.
So turn 1 was pretty uneventful. I think I killed an aqua droid with my orbital bombardment. Boss came on and killed 5 B1s, and that was turn 1.
Yeah, I was very impressed by that orbital bombardment. That's a cool little trick.
It's Timu Bosk is what I call it.
Yeah.
I can't fit Bosk in there, so that's my boss.
It also means you don't have to pay 100 and something points for Bosk. You can do that and then keep being a super tac droid.
Yes. We'll go with that. I was able to protect all of my single model units. I kept my snipers back. I think my entire army went in the center. Your entire army went in the center, and then your 2 aquas flanked the side objectives.
Yeah. So on one flank, it was on my near side. It was my aqua and sort of a random B1 that I just pushed over there in case I needed the activation, versus one of your spiders, one of your sniper teams, and a BX sword team. And on the other flank, I had both Thunfac, my second aqua, and you only committed a BX sword team, so I was overstacked on the other flank because I had some bad. The sack was not kind to me in round 1.
Yes, yes. Now, turn 2 was interesting because you one-pipped it to get a shot on my sword BXs.
Which it mostly worked. I killed 3 out of 4, so I felt pretty good about it.
And then I was able to immediately go with it and snap you back into your deployment zone because they were your surface scan unit.
Yeah, I clearly haven't read the melee rules in quite some time, and thought because of the size of the base that Aquadroids have, as long as I was full strength, I could use my 3 other minis to not be able to place my unit leader and then put my unit leader back where I wanted him. But you got to cohere in your unit leader first, and that is something that I learnt mid-game. So it cost me a victory point there.
Yes. I think on my flank...
That's mistake number 2 of the game for this guy, so keep him counting.
You had an Aquadroid and a B1, and I think I'd put a Spider, a Sword BX, and a Sniper. And I think not a lot really happened on this turn. Like, I think there was a few chip wounds here and there. It was mostly positioning. I'd played the Grievous 2-pip, so all of my B1s had Roofless, and they were going to be able to get to the middle point, or I could have thrown them towards the side point. Probably not got there, but, you know, triple moving B1s go pretty quick. But my flank, where your close flank, your Aquas and your B1s, I think, killed the Sword BXs.
Yeah, the Aquas one-shot the... No, sorry. The Aquas shot the Spider, did half damage to it.
No. The Aquas shot the BXs in heavy cover, and I took the wrong models off. They did 2 wounds. And I took 2 models off that then gave the B1s an open shot onto the BXs, and they killed the unit. And Bosk had been suppressed because of the ordnance.
Yeah.
And so Bosk only had 1 action, but Bosk's 1 action was to shoot the Spider and do 2 wounds. And I just kept my snipers in incognito. So I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. And then the rest of it was lots of double moving towards the middle. So I think...
Yeah.
At the
double or triple moving with your overrides and stuff like that.
Because I'd kept my spiders all the way back because I just didn't want Bosk to do it, but I knew I could double move them or overclock them to get shots in turn 2. So both of our home points were very safe. Both the flank points fell to you this turn, and then the middle point fell to me. And I also got my surface scan. So I went up this turn, didn't I?
No, it's 3-3 because
3-3.
I had 3 of the primaries, but you got surface scan and I didn't because I didn't read the rule.
That's right. So 3-3 this turn. Turn 3 starts, and this is where things start mattering, like particularly the order in which things go. So I think your Aquas, this is where your Aquas did 4 wounds to my Spider on the flank. So it would have left just my snipers versus your Aquas and B1s. So that, I think that was your first activation. And I was like, that's not good. Then the middle became a real weird scrum. I'd played Grievous's 1-pip, and I did the trick where I charged 1 unit, didn't attack them, but made them cohere in a weird position, and then dived into another unit, whirly birding. I think I hit 4 of your B1 units. I did quite a few wounds.
Yeah. But I, again, learnt more of the engagement rules.
The thing I was happy with, though, is I also got to spin to win onto Boss, because I think I kept him at 2 suppression or more this whole game without enraging him. Like, I was able to keep letting him only have 1 activation because you had played Reptilian Rampage. And then you realised you couldn't charge and double tap Grievous because you only had 1 action.
I wasn't enraged.
You weren't enraged. So I was able to really stop Bosk doing a lot, which I was happy with. I was presenting my snipers and I was like, I'll do the 2-man shot because it's 5 dice and I have aims available to try and get wounds onto your spider droids, but I just wasn't pushing through the wounds I needed. and in return, your sniper BXs were doing what they do, where you roll the dice.
Oh, the sniper B ones, yeah. And then it's like, there's this hit symbol that's got a little hole in the middle.
Yeah, and they just, I got a surge too. And they were able to, like, so I presented the snipers. I presented both of them. I didn't have to, but I was like, extra dice will be good. Didn't get a wound. And then, like, a B1's like, cool, we can see both snipers. I was like, it's okay. We're good. Nope, we're not good. They're dead. So I was bleeding activations. My other sword BXs got mauled by the aqua droids. All of my 3 electro staves were in the middle.
Giving out bunch of suppression each.
And I was taking your face-ups off your B1s and then engaging
which
them
was
melee.
Super annoying because my auto control was already bad, so I needed to further trust the process.
But then you were also triggering AI and having to swing, so you couldn't get me out of melee for boss to eat them up or shots to go into them.
That was really challenging as well. And I seem to recall on the sort of the flank where I overcommitted, you decided you were going to bring a spider across to try and slow my aquas down because Sunfac was starting to get a bit. He had eyes for your home point.
Home point, yes. I think you
and so your spider came across, got a decent crack at the aquas, and then I managed to somehow like roll off an ion and get a weird last first where I won a roll off, and you just didn't roll a save on that spider.
Yeah, it went down really quick. I think I had one B1 hanging back there. That spider went down, which was guarding my home point, and then you had a spider which I had done my super tac commander with his electro staff. I'd recovered him. I'd done tactical downloads, so and then the other operative also got a face up which bounced his aim, so I got the
4 aims, I think.
Yeah, four aims charged into your spider. Yes, you have armor, but I have crit 1. I rolled the dice. I think I got 1 surge and 3 hits, and I said, cool, that'll be 4 crits, pierce 1. And I think your spider had 4 wounds left, and it rolled. I think it was alive on 1 wound, but then what it was able to do is because
it was able to crawl behind the
because you had a face up, you were able to ignore the AI, and then you double moved.
I taught you.
Point. Yes, that was my mistake. I was confident I was going to kill it. Then you were also able to,
and should also say, while it was on 1 wound, the only thing on your side after that was 2 naked B1s, which were from the boss shooting them on turn 1. Actually, boss on turn 1 did even kill 5 B1s. You made enough saves that it only killed 4.
Yeah, I think I did make some saves there. But yes, you got my home point. I got your home point. And then the last activation of turn 4, you double move bossed into the middle, and I'd moved enough stuff onto your home point so I'd score it, so that you scored 5 VP and I only scored 3, I think it was, but you got to the 12 in turn 4.
Yeah, I was desperate for.
Yeah, I'd miscalculated it because in turn 5 I was going to be able to exterminate. Kalani was engaged with Grievous. If Kalani aim swings, then you go to courage 1, and my super attacks activate and go, cool, that B1's not scaring, that B1's not scoring, but you
would have also scanned my surface scan and would have denied that.
I would have panicked your scanner and I was positioned to go and pick it up. So that would have been the point swung I need to pull it back in. But it was a very tight game.
Thanks fuck for score limits.
Yeah, no, I just miscalculated. Like, I didn't have to move off. I could have not scored your home point, but secured the middle, which would have let you get to 11, and I think I would have been on 9. But then in that 5th turn, because I've got 3 super attacks and Grievous all healthy, if I play Exterminate, you had lots of B1s alive, but it was like a unit of 2. A unit of 3.
Units of 2 units,
So I play Exterminate and I go, this unit's dead, because I get to double swing. I think, you had a spider droid on 1 wound. You had an aqua droid on full health, which I was just going to ignore. So you were going to keep your flank, but it was I was confident if I could get to turn 5, and then I just realised, nope. So that was you going 4-0, and something weird happened because there was a drop. The other man who was 3-0, he also lost. So at this point, there was a bunch of 3-1s and only one 4-0. So
stop the count.
No, don't stop the count. Look at the SOS, because Peter had played 4 opponents, and one was 4-0, and the other 3 were 3-1. And I think you had played a man who had gone 0-4. I think Paul was maybe 2-2. I think another person you'd played was 2-2. So I played the vibes of the community, the power bottom, if you will. Well, I was playing the creme de la creme Melbourne had to offer. So
what's with you and cream? Why do you keep using that word, mate?
Creme de la creme, mate. It's a commonly used catchphrase. Google it. So there was a situation, and good old James Brett pulled into Mitch, and I'd given James a very good warm-up game. I'd let him know what Sis can do. James was ready to go. Tell us about your game 5 with James. Was he able to stop you and create the situation where Pete sneaks to the top because he's 4-1?
So we'll set the scene. So I'm running on about 2 hours sleep. I'm beers deep again. I've had a super tight game with Pete where I've played unbelievably bad, but dice were good to me.
You played it very well. Don't belittle
the score limit was even better to me. And James was ready to poke me in the eye and spit on my face with his filthy clone list that we heard about earlier. But if you're anything like me, that was a while ago we spoke about it. So I'll tell you one more time. It's a Rex with a marksman with a mortar, 3 naked infantry, 3 units of arcs, each with the
really
heavy weapon,
really good gun,
scopes, and 2 of the medics, one with a clone commander, which I found out is the one that gives you another surge. So that sort of helped his surge token deficit. 3 snipers, a naked ATRT, and clone commandos. And we were playing payload hostage. So hostage, I thought was going to be okay because it was going to have to draw in either his naked clone troopers, which are easier to kill, and they're also the surge batteries, so the things I want to kill, or it was going to pull multiple copies of his really important arc units to the center, and maybe I can do the cool thing with payload where you win the center on turn 2, and then you move the payload backwards towards yourself, so that way you have to keep drawing them forward and making them waste actions.
I like it.
But instead what happened was I found some cool corner shots that I threw a bunch of offensive dice into, and clones did clone things, and he just kept blocking them all. And I think between like 2 spider shots, some like good quality aqua shots, I did like 1 wound before boss came in.
I hate it when you play a clone and you're like, okay, I've hit you 6 times. Like, all right, heavy cover, take away 2. I'm going to borrow a dodge from here, and they'll use their dodge. So I'll roll 2 red. That's a block and a surge. I will spend this surge token.
Yeah.
That's one suppression. That's like the standard clone conversation.
Yep. Fun, inviting experience. That's definitely collaborative in sort of moving models around the table. For clones, it's moving green tokens around the table. And then I was like, okay, well, if I can't kill them, then maybe I can slow this offensive on one side by using Sunfac and sort of suppressive range 3 shenanigans. So it was sort of like a Naboo table, and there was sort of like a 4 big like height 2 buildings that sort of created like a network where sort of it blocked line of sight into the center, but if you're in the center, it was pretty open. And then there's little bits and pieces on the sides. I never challenged his home payload because he committed way too much to defend it. So it's like, I could probably just get away with sort of skirmishing with his stuff that's trying to attack my home payload, and then I can do that center payload trick. So I move Sunfac up, I get my suppressive shot. Of course, it does no damage. I'm like, cool. And then he goes, my arcs can move here and then move around this thing and around this thing. And I thought that being range 3, I wasn't going to get Sunfac in a position where he could be charged turn 1 from arc troopers. And I got charged turn 1 by arc troopers. So triple aim, targeting scopes, 12 black dice, throw the bucket. I think he hits for like 10 or 11 or something. Not quite full,
but targeting scopes on him too. So
yes. Yeah. So enough to make me a sad droid player that decided to bring the spicy Geonosian for once. And then, you know what Sunfac did? He decided that he'd roll more blocks than not blocks and survived on 1 wound.
Oof.
So not only did I get out of position and let some arcs get very close to my home payload, Sunfac didn't even do me the right thing and just actually dying for me. I did check the rulebook to see if surge to block is a compulsory step or if it's an optional step.
Compulsory.
It's compulsory, unfortunately. So these arc troopers were in very close range to be able to just leap onto my back point, which was only defended by Aquas and a Spider because I was sort of doing long range stuff. So I needed to whip around a whole bunch of B1s and stuff to help defend this. We get through turn 2 and I'm still just not pushing damage against these things. Like I'm getting the odd bit of damage here or there, but there's medics and there's snipers. And then randomly a B1 just shoots a naked clone squad and one-shots them off the table. I'm like, sick. We need a bit more of that. And sort of we both run for this hostage center, but I'm just my B1s are getting mopped up by these arc squads because I've needed to spend so much time moving rather than sort of taking sort of good cover positions and such. Turn 3 comes around and like any good boss player, I have the 1 pip in my command hand and I managed to win the roll-off. And this boss bomb hits 2 6-man arc troopers and a naked clone trooper infantry. It does 5 wounds natural plus the 3 poison tokens. And so his massive offensive that eventually killed Sunfac. Sunfac didn't actually do any damage, by the way. He did get the punch before he died. He saved out of it.
Impervious. Gotta love it.
Yeah. So Bosk managed to single-handedly turn around that assault on my home payload. Didn't kill the units, but generated enough suppression that there was a squad of ARC troopers that was permanently on 2 models left after the bomb that was always panicked, so it never counted for the point. So it would roll enough suppression off, but it would need to move or something, and then I would just apply 1 or 2 suppression back onto it. In the center, though, I was just getting punched by everything, by the 3rd ARC Trooper, by clone commanders, which are terrifying in melee, by the way. And I was getting call me captained, and like my hostage was dropped. He was trying to pick up my hostage, and he goes to pick it up with the clone commandos. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to start losing 2 victory points a turn because he's got both hostages in the middle. And then we realized on the secondary objective card that only core and special forces can pick up hostages.
Yes.
So while my B1s are being melted, I just work my way down to killing that last ARC Trooper. His other core infantry are not close enough to the center. They're doing other things. So just none of us get hostages anymore. They're just hanging by the objective where they want to be, but neither of us are scoring it. And because those 2 of the 3 big arcs were committed on my flank and being suppressed by stuff, and the 3rd one got eventually killed after he finally ran out of surge batteries. I think if he had more access to surges, I was not going to be able to kill enough of these bloody dudes in white armor that all have the same voice. So I just ran at it with my spiders, and I had enough confidence that armor 3 was going to do enough, of course, with trusty wicked kick, to be able to score the payload.
Nice.
But I wasn't in a race against time because I didn't even bother thinking about his back payload because he overcommitted, so he had spent a bunch of moves to bring units across. But that payload was getting closer and closer to my home zone, which was going to score 3 points a turn. But fortunately, with the power of spiders and wicked kick and a little bit of Bosk magic, picking off some lone unit leaders, I managed to move the middle payload fast enough into his zone so that it matched the timing of his defensive payload into my zone. And so I managed to pip him at the 12 victory point mark. But if I didn't get the middle one moving one turn earlier like I did, it's possible that that we would have been much closer or potentially tied on victory points. And he had a bunch of single unit arc leaders and other garbage around, and I just had a handful of spiders and Bosk, and I was hemorrhaging everything else. My aquas just died.
I did come up to James at the end of the game and said, "What happened? What happened?" And he just went, "The Bosk bomb. The Bosk bomb happened." That's why you should always take that one pip.
Yep, absolutely.
It is the most undervalued card in the game. And only hitting 3 clone units with it is a bit of a shame to hear. Like, I like it when it's at least 5+, so you really make them pay, because you can't share dodges or surge tokens when it's poison. Take that.
Yeah. Yeah, super high value.
Yes, it always comes in clutch. So you finished 5-0?
I did. It's so sad, though, with all this Impervious running around and Bosk only having Pierce 1. It just feels so shit.
That is true, yeah. Yes, he might need to have a little points drop, I reckon. I don't think 90 or 95's criminal for him.
No, that's probably fine.
Impervious change. I do like his suppression ability, but he's just losing his place at Sis at the moment, where he's competing against super tax now. I think all the bounty hunters, I think it's been identified that they're all getting a bit of a change coming up. So hopefully we do see Boss back in his rightful place at the top of the pile.
Yeah. We got to get back to feeding the lizard.
That's what we all want to see. So I had a game 5, and I was playing this with the knowledge that I was confident in James as a player, and I came up against Shannon Lamass, who was the other 3-0 who lost the pair down in the round 4, but I knew he had a really strong strength of schedule. So he was, again, filthy clone player. He was the Anakin flavor. So it was Anakin, Padme, and then he had this stupid marksman squad. So it was marksman, Cody, RPS. So it's that long, I think it's range 4, impact 4. It had targeting scopes on it. And of course, there's always things to share. He had 2 nakeds, just this little surge token generators. Then he had 2 arc troopers with the 5-mans with the heavy weapon that you should all be taking. 2 sniper teams, 2 barks, and an ATRT flamer. So it was a pretty typical splash of life, little bit of everything list. He had lots of prepared positions. He dropped them all down, and he put the Cody squad in a position where I was like, I can shoot that turn 1 with quite a lot. So I was quite excited when I saw that unit drop. We had closed the pocket and surface scan again, my favorite objective for the weekend. The 2 flanking close the pocket positions were very, very open, but the center one was on top of a building. Now, the building was very, very small and skinny, but it was height 2. So it was one of those weird ones where I could throw heaps of units on one side and he could throw heaps of units on the other side. And, it was going to be who could get more numbers onto that middle point to compete and score it.
Wait, is Close the Pocket in your deck?
No, it was in his deck, but
That's horrible.
I saw it and I looked at the table and sort of went, I've got more bodies. I can move quicker. I'm happy to have this. So I think
a terrible thing to have in that list.
I think I flipped into Ordnance, hoping to get the pass token. So deployment, he did a lot of scouting and moving because you come in on the flanks on close the pocket. he had this huge wall in the middle of his side, and he was double moving or triple moving because he had so much scout, lots of things behind that to threaten the center POI. Actually, let's talk about these bloody clones. So I'm seeing it a lot with clone players where the strike teams, which are incognito, don't actually ever shoot. They just sit there and go, yeah, I'll just aim and dodge. I'll aim and dodge. And they act as token batteries for everything. That clone Cody squad, supported by Padme, a naked clone squad, and a incognito sniper team, in turn 1, it took my orbital bombardment trick. It took 3 ion spider shots. It took a BX scout shoot move again shot. How many wounds do you think I did?
Probably 0.
I did 2. I was pretty impressed by 2. I think I put I think it was about 6 or 7 suppression on them.
Oh, 2 because you had Pierce 1 in there with your bomb.
I did. I had Pierce 1, so that was a guaranteed 1 dead, and then I think.
So really, you did 1.
Yeah, really, I did 1. Look, I'm counting the Pierce. It was in heavy cover, and he was like, Padme, here's another reliable. And I'd shoot off, and he'd spend the dodge, and then he'd immediately go with something else, and he'd say, this move's dodge. I was like, okay, there's another dodge token. And then in retaliation, it shot one of my spiders and did 5 wounds back. After rolling off all of its suppression, I was like, crap. And it was my one.
Of course it did.
And it was my one with the surface scanner, and I didn't have to take the shot. It could have done something safe. And I was like, no, I've committed to shooting this unit. I don't think it'll shoot back because he's only courage 2 and it's already got 5 suppression. And then he rolled it all off. But whatever, we'll keep that going. Now, Greg was my last activation because I've got the C's on him. And he deployed one of his ARC troopers on the opposite flank to where Cody was. And he put them in a position where Grievous could move, and then next turn he could double move and charge into them. And I think the only other thing he had on that side was another naked clone trooper squad and a sniper. So there was one flank where 80% of both of our forces were, and another flank where it was Greg, a BX sniper team, and a operative from me versus a naked clone, an ARC trooper, and a sniper from him. Anakin was positioned so he could influence it, and he also had those 2 barks, which have got a crazy movement, and they could have come and influenced it as well. But I went, no, Greg, because I've got the second commander, Greg can just go off to Narnia and do his own thing. So I double moved Greg on, setting up the 1 pip to dive into his ARC troopers in turn 2. So turn 2 comes, the first thing I do is I look at the board and I say, what can he get on the middle? And it was his ATRT and his 2 barks. And I could probably add a push, double move a spider, and overclock it onto the point. So I was like, he's probably going to win this middle point. This is what he can get on. So I said, I'll drop the orbital bombardment on the middle point, so that anything scoring it's going to cop a bomb in the face. So turn 1 goes, I play the 1 pip going, cool, I'm going to get into the ARC troopers. I'm probably not going to kill them, but I'm going to make them suffer. He plays the Padme 2 pip, which haven't seen in a long time, but it's the free speed 1 move, and he moves them backwards so Grievous can't get into them. So Grievous has played a 1 pip, and his only target is a naked B1, naked clone trooper unit. He charges in there, he swings, and he only kills 3. So sorry, Anakin, you don't get your tempted. But he now leaves himself in a position where Anakin can burst a speed into him. The ARC troopers can charge into him. Luckily, he's got 2 dodges because of prepared positions in the 1 pip. So in turn 1, I think he took 6 wounds between Anakin charging in and the ARC troopers. But one of his big attacking units in the ARC troopers and Anakin are now off to the side, and Anakin's just popped burst of speed, so he's slowed down next turn. Not much happens. I continue to shoot the Cody squad. I think I killed maybe 1 more model after my entire army shooting at it. None of his units really interact and attack. They are just generating more tokens for his other units. So he has secured the left point. I've secured the right point. and he had the center point tied up with just a ATRT, which I'd managed to put 2 wounds on, or 3 wounds on. And one of his last activations, he flies a bark in, so he's got 2 units on the middle point, so there's no chance I can get it. That bark I did shoot, I did 2 wounds on it, so turn 2, it's okay. I'm getting 1 VP or 2 VPs from the surface scan. He is getting 3 VPs from the objective and 1 from the surface scan. I'm like, that's okay. But it comes to the orbital bombardment, and I roll crit hit surge, which seemed to be the theme. And both his arc and his...
Surges hit, doesn't it?
No, surges don't do a wound. It's only
on ordnance. On ordnance.
Yeah, ordnance. So on ordnance, I did 3 wounds, and I killed both the bark and the ATRT on the middle point. So what was going to be a 2-point up for him went to an even round.
You're a dirty man.
I looked at Grievous. I said, Grievous is just about to die. I'm probably going to cop some shots here. So turn 3, because I've just killed 2 activations with the ordnance bomb, I'm like, I'll just play Crush them. I'll get the surge tokens out. So Grievous got 2 surge tokens from Crush them.
Wait, you have crushed them in your deck?
Do not crush them when your operatives can can share all of the surge tokens. It's a good card, okay?
Yeah.
Do not knock.
Yeah.
It's as
good as the Arc Trooper Heavy shooting by itself at range.
Okay, so let's see what he does. So he played a 1-pip. He played Anakin's 1-pip. So Anakin's going to get to double swing into Grievous. Grievous on 2 Anakin swings takes 1 wound, and I think I spent the 2 surge tokens, which I only got because the ordnance had killed his ATRT and his bark. I think Grievous swings into his ARC troopers before they kill him and do 2 or 3 wounds. The left side of the table, he flies his last bark into. The right side is kind of abandoned. Padme is now getting electro-staffed in the face.
What were you going to say? Were you going to say electro-fisted?
I was going to say electro-fisted. Padme just had all the boys, I think she had 3 super attacks with electro-staffs just swinging away at her. She was loving it. She was just dodging and nimble and surviving. And then it was like this one stupid clone naked just was living, and he got to go and he'd be like, dodge. And dodge and aim, and then the Cody squad would use that to keep shooting at me. I just started slice comming the Cody squad because I gave up trying to kill it, and I was just putting 9 suppression on it a turn with all my demoralizers and slice comms. So I now had basically an unmolested path to the middle. I just had 2 spiders that could get there. I had lots of naked B1s, and he only had 1 ARC trooper defending it. His ARC trooper did get into a B1 squad. It moved in, it shot, or I think it moved and shot, and it killed all the B1s except for 1 because they were in heavy cover, which then meant that 1 B1 ran into that ARC trooper unit, and just because he didn't have a way to disengage, his 1 good shot that probably could kill my spiders was now going to be wasted for 2 turns killing a naked B1 squad. So at this point, I got up quite a bit. I just held the middle and the flank where his Cody squad was. He had on the other side of the table, he had Anakin, who probably could have influenced the game. He probably wanted Tempted to trigger, but Clone Troopers just did Clone Trooper things. So I think he had a sniper team with 1 model, a naked clone squad with 1 model, an ARC Trooper squad with 1 model, an Anakin. And I was continually shooting, trying to kill them, forgetting about Tempted, but never actually managing to kill anything, so Tempted never could trigger, because clones just don't die. But at this point, I just had numbers on the table, and I was going to have 6 activations contesting the middle, and he wasn't going to have anything to get over there. So turn 4 and 5 sort of blew out a little bit, where Anakin got tar pitted by my super tac who did exterminate. So he did I activate his 5 suppression Anakin. And then he didn't rally it all off. Didn't rally it all off, so he was only getting 1 activation and couldn't get to the middle to start pushing and influencing things. And I did try and trigger Tempted. I did try and kill his units. I just couldn't. And the Clone Trooper squad, I think I ran 2 electro staffs into it, the Cody squad, and it lived with 1 model left.
Oh, it didn't even die the whole game.
And I think one of those Electro Stars had Pierce on it. So that squad probably spent 15 dodge tokens and made 30 saves. But bloody clones. So I ended up 4-1. Mitch ended up 5-0. I think I played the first place player, that was you. I came second, and then my other opponents came third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So I had a brutal run.
Oh, you said you played Shannon last round, right? So yeah, you played 1, you were 2, you played Vivian 3, you played Zane 5, James Brett 6, and 8 in Shannon. So all of your opponents were in the top 8.
Yeah, so I had the brutal run. Oh yes, the drink. That's right. He was representing the moisture farmers. So I think the Southern Wampers definitely got the best of that Melbourne derby. But the moisture farmers did have a good showing in the drink. He told me a very interesting story about New Zealand events. We really do need to get to some, because he had a very good story about one of them. I think it ended in a fist fight at some point.
As all good events end. I mean, is it really an event if there's not a fist fight?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. How did the rest of the travel crew go, Mitch? We brought a fair squad.
We did bring a few of us. I think there was 9 of us in the end. And compared to the first year where we went down, where there was, I think, 7 of us and 6 of us were in the top 8. This one didn't go so well. So still, we kept those Melbourne locals out of the top 2, with you and I going 1 and 2. And then we had Paul get a 3-2. Mr. Glenn Capable, the former world number 1, went 3-2 after he lost round 1 to arguably Brisbane's top player in AA, Ron, who plays Dirty Clones. And then, of course, after beating the former world number 1, he did go ahead and just lose round 2. And he also went 3-2. So really good that our top international players, apart from yourself, Pete, were doing really, really well. And probably most importantly, one of my favorite players in the community, Timu Pete, I think his name's Tim, he beat Matt Ollett on the leaderboard. So make sure you continue to remind him of that, Timu Pete. So Pete winning at the top, playing all the top players, and Timu Pete winning at the bottom, staying above Matt Ollett. So well done there.
That's what you want to aim for. Yeah, the Kiwis had a good showing. I think the Kiwis went 5-5 between their two. I think it was Erin and Nathan, so they were really cool guys, or really cool people, and came over.
And they didn't play clones. So
they didn't play clones, so that is always a good positive. And they said they're looking to get a GT, which I think would be awesome in the future.
Absolutely. So, Pete, what are 3 things that you reckon you learnt from the weekend that either you didn't know at the start or didn't appreciate enough at the start?
The E5S, it was really hard not to take them. I think the E5S is stapled onto B1 units. I think it was a huge mistake not taking them. Very, very good unit. Need to come. I've learnt that the pirate list is going to be absolutely terrifying. I may have gotten a bonus from doing a few cattle trucks, and I may have bought 4 Wallaloos. Maybe, potentially. Very fun thematic.
Of course you have.
I would say.
Of course you have. Community building stuff right there.
And a final thing I learned is that Melbourne's not as shit as it was last year. They definitely have, there was quite a few players I spoke to. There's one guy who was really awesome when I played Shannon. I appreciate his community effort. He just came over and said, "You got to absolutely smash this guy. He's an absolute asshole. He's an absolute this. He's an absolute that." He was saying some slurs I was impressed with. And I spoke to Shannon at the end, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm glad I beat you," because there was some dude who was quite aggressive about me beating you, and I was a bit worried what he'd do if you didn't. He's like, "Oh yeah, that guy's my best mate." So it's good to know Victorians treat themselves with respect. But I think Nick Gentili, who didn't play Legion, he's an MCP player, but I think he's a very, very strong community builder, and he's brought a lot of very along with Hugh too, who was our TO for the event. They're bringing in a lot of like tabletop veterans into Legion, and you can definitely tell that there's a few intricacies of Legion and list building that they haven't fully gotten. Like quite a few people said, Shannon and Vivian, like it's their first year of playing the game, but I think they're all going to just continue to improve. And I think Melbourne's generally been the tabletop hub or tabletop stronghold in most tabletops. So we did get to do another speech where we absolutely slammed the Melbourne community and, told them to step up their game, but they've definitely been listening. And I think next year it could be Melbourne's year to actually win their own event. Or they might.
I mean, they were running. I spoke to one of them outside at the venue at one point, and they were running little boot camps to like practice against your style of list. So maybe because I won this one, they'll attempt to practice against my list. But good luck to them because I don't know what I run. I just click buttons.
Well, yes, I think that's definitely something I've learned is that we need to watch out for Melbourne. It was really awesome when they travelled up to the Orange event. I think they've generally got a showing at CanCon, but I definitely think there's a few names we need to be wary of. I think Hugh didn't play this event because he was the TO, but you can definitely see some of the lists he takes, and he's definitely one of the ones climbing up the leaderboards and making a bit of an impact. And he is a lovely guy, and he is a cis player as well, which makes him a lot better than all the clone players that were rocking around down there. What about yourself, Mitch? Anything you learned?
Droidicas are sneaky good now because they can climb. So Droidicas might be back.
And Aquadroids too. That was when you did
yeah,
that
I
to
did
me,
do a lot of climbing with.
No, you're not allowed to do that. You said it's a trooper unit. You tell me why I can't do it. And I was like,
yeah.
God damn it, you are right. And
I think I did that straight after Paul did it to me with the Droidicas because we played the round after.
And you can end your B1 chain on them too.
Yes, which is handy. It's certainly handy. Second thing I learned. Let's see.
Probably should have rehearsed this.
What's that?
We probably should have rehearsed this.
Nah, come on. People they want it live. Clones are still a filthy unit. Just why are they in the game? Just let's keep taking Padme and range 3 arc shots, and then maybe it'll be okay. But that. And probably the last thing, we had not enough Empire representation up the top. I think I'd like to see some more creative Empire lists that either don't lean on Dark Troopers or well, pretty much that. If there's anything else in there, so we'll see if my list this weekend shows that for some reason E-Webs are a great unit, but I think people need to be more creative with Empire. Give me some ideas.
I think Taji exists in a place where you can say my Empire are now clones. Like I'm sure there is a list somewhere where Taji and his Surge Exemplar BS turns on. And I also think we discussed it a couple of episodes again. There's definitely some Tempest lists out there. I think Tempest, yes, the ATSTs are a bit unreliable, but when you can shoot things with an aim and also your opposing unit has 3 observe tokens, I think they start to turn on a little bit.
Okay. Maybe
with some Veers, because I think guidance vehicle is...
Veers can't go in Tempest, though, is the only issue.
There's some Gideon double ATST, Veers, Dark Trooper, something.
Yeah, of course there is.
There would be something there. Any thought-provoking moments you've got, Mitch, before we go into our final topic?
Well, this is the final topic. Whatever thought-provoking thing I have, I know. So this weekend, that event, I actually had paint on all my minis, which is rare for me because it sucks. But maybe I'll do something for the painting comp. I don't know. But what defines a table-ready army? Like, what's the minimum you can do to put it on the table and be like, yeah, that's the list I'm playing? Like, does it have to be all painted? Can it be, like, partially painted? Can it be unpainted? Can it be still dripping off the resin tray? Where do you stand on it? And then I'll tell you what I've done.
What the answer is. I remember going to an event a very, very long time ago, and I brought Skaven, and there was like 300 models, and they were all just grey and unpainted. And I think my opponent was like, I think he did it in a very polite way, but he said like, this is really underprepared. This is really hard to understand your list. So I think table ready, because there is a lot going on in Legion. First thing is you bring your cards to the table, or you have a way of tracking your upgrades and your tappable abilities, which is very clear and concise for both players to understand. Some people put little, like there's some really technical people out there who 3D print like tokens, and it's like, this is my choke token, this is my force push token. I'm going to put one upside down, and then I'll ready this one. So you can always tell. You don't have to ask your opponent. You can just look at them. With my super tax, I had 3, and all of them had abilities. I had cards in green sleeves, in orange sleeves, and red sleeves. And I'd say to my opponent, here are the super tax. Here are their abilities. I'm going to lay them here. The one which is painted green corresponds to the green cards, and I can tap them. So I think that's the first thing. A table-ready army is your opponent can tell everything about the army without having to ask you a question. I know we do it, and I just got it from TTS. I think it should be standard, is rimming your bases. You talk about those bloody clones when there's 55 clones opposite you, and they're all painted the same with these amazing scenic bases, but they're all painted black around the rim, and you look at them, and half of your game becomes, how many models in that unit, how many suppression here?
Well, the answer is 5, because they're always full health.
Correct. So I liked rim bases. I think that is table ready. And I've
like
sort of
bases.
Love a good rimming base. I think 3-color minimum's lazy, but I like to have paint on all the models I play. I think at your local event, that's fine. You've just bought your Mandos, stick them together, throw them out there. But I think at a GT, you want to have some prestige. You want to paint your army. You want to have a theme. And I don't think at Melbourne I saw any unpainted models. Actually, I take that back. My commission painter, Zane, rocked up with unpainted pirates, but I think only his pirates
What a
are
scrub.
unpainted. Yeah, what a scrub. I think he'd literally got the box on Friday, and he'd painted his 4 Wooloos, but didn't have time to do his 30 pirates, so we'll give him a pass.
Well, he can take a page out of Paul Ray's book and just dunk them into vats of paint.
Yeah, I remember on the Friday night we came over for drinks, and was it Paul was manically painting Matt's army? You've got to be prepared. I think found that very unprofessional. So I think you want a painted army. I think you want a clear and concise army. I think your opponent should be able to tell everything they need to know about what upgrades are there, what unit is what, without having to ask a question. That's what table ready means for me, Mitch. What silly answer are you going to give me?
Silly answer? I'm not going to give you a silly answer. I'm going to tell you 3 things I've done at major tournaments.
Oh, God.
The first one was the one and only time that I played Old World in an organized event. And the night before, I pulled these models off the 3D printer base and stuck them in this small box. And then when I got to the table, I tipped them on the table, blue tacked them to some cardboard moving trays, and away we went. And Matt Ollett will notoriously tell the story that there was still resin driven from the models, and some of it got on the mats that I played. So
I'm pretty sure if you posted that on Reddit, you would have 15 people. I posted a 3D printing question on Reddit, and about 15 people DM'd me about the hazards of uncured resin. So please post that picture on a Reddit and ask, is this okay?
Look, it worked for me. The Empire cannons were still shooting cannonballs and stuff, and look, the splash of resin was just the blood of my handgunner dudes dying. So I thought it was all rather thematic in like a old school like sepia, but instead of sepia, it's all just resin gray.
All right, I can't wait for the next to trigger everybody listening.
The second story was actually at Adepticon after I got knocked out of Worlds the last time I went, which where Boba betrayed me and I lost to the wonderful Andreas from Germany. I think he did quite well in the team league the other day, so good on him. And I went to play, what do they call it? Song of Ice and Fire, TMG. And because I had to take my Legion across, I had these other dudes, which, well, they went in my checked luggage, and they were luckily Song of Ice and Fire fully built, so didn't need to come off the printer. They weren't really painted, and I just sort of stuck them in like a corset box and just put some pluck foam around. So when I got to the table, all my cards, dice, tokens, and all the models were just kind of in this thing with pluck foam. And consistent army player of the Australian community, Johnny Wombat, got to witness me take the lid off this box and just tip the box on the table, and all these minis just spilled out. And the guy that I was playing my first round was this wonderfully painted Night's Watch, like had a full like display board and stuff like that. And here I am with all these models with all their swords like together and between legs, and something snapped off here because it's the first time I've looked at it since I took it out of my luggage from the flight over to Adepticon. And he was rather shocked, but I had like a combo gimmicky list and managed to table him in about 15 minutes. So then I bought him a beer and explained why that I was simply testing the resilience of these cool meteor knot sculpts and their pre-built nature.
I want to get this guy on the podcast to rehear his telling of the story.
You could get Wombat's perspective. That probably gives you enough viewpoint. And the third one, I forgot the other top thing that I learned from the weekend. Chess clocks are great. It's so good to play a 5-round game for 5 rounds and not try and clock your opponent out like other regions around the world. The other beautiful thing that you can do with your chess clock, also at a GT, is anything you want. So I'm sure if we haven't already, I will tell again the story about how I've bought a beer on my chess clock and left my opponent to wait for 15 minutes. But there's nothing like getting ready for the day during the day. And at one GT, I pulled out a sprue, clippers, and glue and built a unit on my clock in turn 0 of the first round of a GT.
Community building, Mitch. Always with the community in mind, just bettering our community at all points. Well done, Mitch. I hope you were proud.
Just be glad that there was glue and not blue tack, because I do love a bit of blue tack.
Before we upset anyone else, we're going to say thank you very much for listening to Fireball Legion. Please keep an eye on our socials, which are currently non-existent, but there will be some posts around for the painting competition. And thank you all for giving us your ears and listening to this episode. We're going to say it together, Mitch. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Fireball Legion. I've been watching lots of World Cup, and that makes sense to me.
Of course.